In this practice, you will be invited to mindfully eat a meal. It may be easiest to listen to this guidance a couple of times beforehand to get to know it. You could play the guidance during your meal and pause it as you go along. Explore what works for you, using the written guidance to support you. Ideally, the practice is done when you are by yourself, to take away some distractions to allow you to focus your mind. When planning to eat your chosen meal using this guidance, please allow yourself extra time to slow things down in a mindful manner. However, if a quiet, slow mealtime by yourself is just not realistic, just do the exercise as best you can with what you have and how things are in that moment. The soul aims to become more aware of your experiences as you eat a meal, really focusing in on what is happening in the moment, getting all of your senses involved. And now, we will shortly start this exercise. Beginning again. As we start, you may wish to close your eyes briefly if this seems appropriate. Checking in with yourself. Exploring what's around for you in the moment. Do you notice any feelings, perhaps? Or any thoughts? Perhaps there are bodily sensations around. Or strong desires, such as the desire to eat. Whatever there is, just noticing and acknowledging that this is how things are for you in this moment. Now, discovering the in-breath, the movements, sensations and feelings as the air rushes into your body. This in-breath, and letting go on the out-breath. Focusing on the new breath as the air rushes in, and on the out-breath as it leaves. Just taking a moment to feel how it is to be breathing. Focusing on this breath. And this breath. Taking your time, living all of this moment. Now, opening your eyes if you have not done so already, and starting to prepare your meal. As you go into this, turning your attention to notice the sights, sounds, smells, and feel of the objects and foods that are around you. Perhaps the weight of the chopping board, the slosh of the milk in the carton as you move, the sizzle of the oil in the pan, or the pitch of the sound the microwave makes, the change in the colour of the vegetables as these cook. Of course, these are all just examples. Just really opening up your senses as to what's around you as you prepare this meal. Try to bring a curious, playful approach to what you turn your attention towards. There is no wrong thing to focus on in this exercise. There is only the moment and the many rich things around you as you prepare your meal. Now, if there's not many steps as you prepare, if it's a quick meal, then that's entirely fine. Perhaps focusing on the room around you, the sounds of the food cooking, or anything at all. Perhaps noticing how it feels to move your body as you prepare the meal, even if it's only a few steps around the kitchen. Noticing what sensations are around. For instance, is there more saliva in your mouth as you prepare to eat? Now, from time to time, you will find that your mind has wandered away to thoughts or sensations or something else. And when you notice this, kindly note what took you away, and then, on an out-breath, gently let go and bring your attention back to the moment, to the object or to the foods you are preparing before you. And when you are ready to eat your meal, you may wish to briefly close your eyes and again just check in with yourself, just noticing what's around. Tuning into your posture, the contact of your body with the chair. Noticing any areas of tension that may be around, and opening up to these as you breathe, loosening yourself, and deepening into the moment. Perhaps into a stillness. Now, focusing on any desires that are around. With the food before you, is there a drive to rush and eat as quickly as possible? And if so, just noticing this. Being curious as to what you are wanting to do in the moment. And now, as you are eating, drawing upon all of your senses one by one, starting with your eyes, really seeing the food, perhaps its colour, how the light reflects in it, perhaps seeing the texture, the sizes of the foods, and shapes, the similarities and the differences. And moving on to how the food feels. It may be a food that you're eating with your hands, or you may be using a knife and fork or a spoon, or something else. You may be feeling the texture of the food, glass or cup. Noticing the weight of the fork or spoon, the temperatures, the feel of the table or edge of the plate. Whether rough or smooth, or perhaps you notice something else. And not really doing anything with these things, just noticing. And expanding to turn your attention to your ears and what you hear in this moment. It may be a food that's lively and vibrant with the sounds, or it may be a very quiet food that makes barely any sound or none at all. Just listening for a moment. Really focusing in on the details from what you hear. And if you hear a nothingness, just focusing on the nothingness. If you do hear a sound, perhaps focusing on the volume of that sound compared to those around you. Maybe considering how each sound changes with each new moment. And broadening your attention to focus on your nose and the smells of the food. Once again, it may be a strong smelling food or potentially weak. What smells do you notice? Thoughts may come in that it smells like something. Looking beyond these to describe the smell. For instance, is it sweet or sour? Perhaps noticing the difference between the smell of your drink and the food. Just being open to whatever is present around you. When you are ready, slowly bringing a mouthful of food to your lips. And pausing for a moment and again noticing what your desires are. See if you can spot the desire to eat the food And just stay with that for a moment. What's that like? Now, taking the mouthful of food and pausing there, exploring how it changes in your mouth in the moment. Perhaps moving the food around your mouth with your tongue. And slowly chewing the food. Just turning towards the process of chewing and just seeing what you notice. Being curious. Now, imagining that you are really turning up the volume on your taste buds, magnifying the strength of what there is to notice. Really focusing on exactly how the food tastes. Are there different flavours within the mouthful, for instance? Just taking your time with this as you eat. Slowly, carefully, mindfully. There is no rush. You have allowed the time. There is only this meal in this moment. And when you are ready, tasting some of the other parts of the meal separately. And just noticing any similarities or differences between these parts. And just continuing to eat your meal in this manner. And after you have eaten the majority of the food, just seeing if you can notice any changes to your body. You may notice things such as the movement and sounds of your digestive system as it does its work. And just noticing. Now, carefully and mindfully, moving with each new moment to finish your meal. Just exploring with all your senses and doing the exercise exactly how it feels best for you. And once you have finished your meal, beginning again in this moment by bringing your attention to how you feel. Just checking in with what's around. If there are thoughts, turning towards these. Or feelings. Maybe there is a satisfaction from eating the meal. Or perhaps not. Whatever you feel is fine. And moving forward with your day, to mindfully explore the process of tidying up and the cleaning process, if you like, now that you have finished your meal. For instance, perhaps if you are washing up, noticing the smells of the washing liquid, the sights, colours, the feel of the water around your hands, the temperatures. Perhaps noticing things that only you can notice in this moment. And now, as we have reached the end of this exercise, you may wish to thank yourself for taking the time to be present, to mindfully explore a meal in a manner that is far away from the autopilot that often stops us from really living our lives in a rich and full manner. You may wish to compare how you experience that meal with how you would normally eat a meal. Then just take some time to wonder about the differences.